can see me. Oh no. Okay. So I'm under the avocado tree, and today I wanted us to talk about brain drain. Brain drain. So kuna kitanzani ndimi pale, brain drain. So brain drain basically is when we have movement of skilled professionals to other countries in a quest for better opportunities, more money, and just a better living standards. Yeah. So I want to see what is the impact of brain drain, especially in the education sector, because that is where I am in. That is what I'm conversant with. And what do we do about it? Or it's a fallacy to just say, stop the drain and gain. What exactly should we do? That's what I want us to. Alright? Yeah. So I'm sorry in case you'll be hearing chicks, hearing the dogs barking. Yeah, because I'm in the village, so that is expected. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm very visible. That's how I am today. So yeah, let's get started. Brain drain. So as I've already said, there's a reason as to why people move from one country to the other. Last time I shared a video on how to cope with homesick in another county or country. So basically, if I'm a skilled professional, let's say I'm a skilled educator, I'm moving from, let's say, Kenya to Australia, America, the United Kingdom, South Africa. For what reason? Good morning. How are you? Yeah, so want to see what is the impact of this. So the reason as to why one will move from one country to the other, I've said, is if the country of residence where they are not finding good living standards, even in terms of the amenities. Let's say it's hospitals, it's in a deplorable state, education is something else, the roads are pathetic. You're fine, thank you. All right, so that is one of the reasons. The other reason is if there's poor remuneration. If you're not paid well and you feel you have more value, you have more worth, obviously you'll want to move to a better place, yeah, where you be compensated better. Like in education, you find people with bachelors of education in early childhood development education are not really that valued, and they're employed by the county government, where they're given just 10,000. Yes, though considering the working hours, because it's from 8 to around 12, it's still not significant. Because right now, even you go with 1,000 Kenya shillings to a supermarket, the amount of items you'll come with are very, very few. So you see, people will want more money so that they can even afford the very education they are offering. Yeah? Because sometimes we offer services that we ourselves are not able to afford. So for such a person, because they are not remunerated well, and they hear maybe there's an opportunity in Australia, why not? They'll go and seek better pastures. Because, come to think about it, their parents sold maybe cows, sold land, took them to school, just only to be at home. Like, really, it doesn't make sense. So someone, because out of that frustration, they're not remunerated well, they might have to go and seek pastures elsewhere, greener pastures elsewhere. Same case for people with special needs education. You find sometimes someone has, okay, special needs so wide. Like in the last recruitment for JSS, yeah, you'll find that maybe they just need only one special needs educator and it's in just a certain field. Let's say for Braille, we have people with speech, just one, because these centers are not that common for the special needs education. So you find they're not absorbed fully, and even if they are fatigued and they're not compensated well. So they decide to go elsewhere. The other reason that I came up as to why one would decide to go elsewhere is because of the currency devaluation. Right now you're looking at the Kenyan shillings compared to the dollar. The last time I checked it was 128. Kenyan shillings is equivalent to $1. You look at the UK pound, it's even higher. So someone will be like, I'd rather go to a country where even if I'm going to pay more taxes, the currency is a bit weighty. You know, you'd rather go to maybe UK and send the money home you're spending in Kenyan shillings than earn in Kenyan shillings, spend in Kenyan shillings. So that's another reason as to why people opt out. I don't know whether it's a smart decision. The next reason is because of exorbitant taxes. Like in Kenya, man, you find we have the housing tax, we have I don't know what, there's shift share, and people really don't understand what these things are. No one has educated them. Like, it's things are in shambles. The system is not working. You know, personally, I will not have a problem if I pay taxes and I get the services. For example, if I pay taxes, I expect to go to hospital and find drugs. I expect to be treated and served without much endurance, having to line up for long. You see? So these are some of the reasons people look and they're like, no, I deserve better. So they decide to opt. You'd rather pay high taxes and get the services that are required. Yeah. Another thing is because of the poor policies. So you find some of the policies or the lawmakers that we have put in place, they're not playing their role as it should be. Instead of having creating rules and regulations that perhaps could enable everyone to grow, you find they are putting limitations. For example, you should not transact more than 1 million. You have to have, you explain your source of wealth, you declare your wealth. All these things somehow act as an hindrance towards development. You want to open an ECD center, maybe I'm a teacher. You find you're supposed to have health insurance for your workers, for yourself. You're supposed to clear with the county government, have things even to do with the adverts that you're going to put, have NEMA come in to ascertain that the school running within the community doesn't affect it. For example, the noise, how will it be curbed? And such things. The sewer, how will it? Okay, it's for good. It's for our good, yeah, generally. But sometimes you find that the amount that is required to even start, it becomes impossible, because even coming up with a startup capital, saving right now is almost impossible, because people are living from hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. So it becomes impossible to even create jobs for others. However, it is possible, you can do, but it's really, really expensive and draining, and you're not even assured of the results. Ask around. People like Beryl, they can tell you what it's Beryl Itindi. They can tell you how hard it is to run some of these businesses. So those are some of the reasons as to why people decide, I'd rather go elsewhere. Yeah, sorry for that call. Yeah, someone has disturbed me. We're on the reason as to why people decide to opt out. Another thing is micromanaged. No professional wants to be followed up, because even when you are writing that job advert, you said someone who is able to work under minimal supervision. So they don't like being followed. You're ever complaining, you're micromanaging. So they will have to opt out because they feel the work environment is toxic. Yeah. Another thing is due to corruption. Okay, like in our continent, Africa, we have the resources, we have everything. Our big challenge is infrastructure development. And this comes in because of corruption. You find even the leaders who are there, yes, they can build, let's say, an infrastructure, but equipping it becomes something else. They want to have the tenders for sales, everything about me, me, me. You have just a personal interest instead of looking at the common interest of everyone, of every citizen. So that's costing us, huh? And it's costing professionals a lot. Yeah. So they decide to go where they are accepted. Another thing is about phobia. What if I will fail while I'm Kenya? So you decide to opt to be somewhere else where at least your risk is low, and you know you're gonna achieve something by the end of that tenure. For example, why would you want to maybe work for 30 years plus only to make peanuts when you can work maybe for a short contract and make a lump sum money, develop yourself, and just move to other things? No, this thing about permanent and pensionable, sometimes I think due to job security reasons, people tend to just get locked there. They take loans and they are unable to back out. But if you find a place where there is a career growth vertically, not horizontally, you're growing vertically, people will be retained. But the moment you find you're not growing, you just there, you even go and add maybe a master's, a PhD, you're not compensated. My friend, such professionals will opt for greener pastures, obviously, because you can't even afford them in any case. Yeah. So we also have bureaucracy. Hey, kwanza Kenya. Hey, I'm telling you, even applying for things like TC number, Mara, you need a lot of documents. Even the waiting, hey, for your certificates upon graduating, it's just something else. It's frustrating. No, you wait and wait and wait until you just give up. So you decide to go at least where you try your luck, and maybe you become lucky and you go. Yeah, people don't like. Yeah. Another thing is due to political turmoil. If the political environment or climate is not sustainable, it is what? There is war, there is this, even about insecurity issues like abductions. People want security, a place where you can even build something and it will not be raised down by arsonists, terrorists, or whoever. So you opt to a place that you feel you're secure, because in any case, we all want to survive. We want to keep afloat. We want to have a legacy. There's no point for me maybe to build a house, then it be burnt down. I have a farm, someone comes and burns it down, or they cut everything down, maybe due to tribal clashes. So those are some of the reasons as to why people will want to go to a place where they feel there is peace. Oh yes. All right. So another thing that I wrote was about underpayment in the entry levels. Like my first job, just earning 3,000, and sometimes maybe you sold an item on credit, someone hasn't paid, the money goes. There's no lunch, there's no nothing. You're just working for around 12 hours. I had to quit because it became tired. You're not even having a break. You're there back to back every morning. Maybe my tolerance rate was a bit low, but still, I think things would have been done better. Yeah. Okay. So another thing is due to outdated educational system. Sometimes some of the things that are taught in schools, there's a skill mismatch, in short. Yeah, you find what is on the ground versus what you are taught are not tallying at all. So we need to be reviewing our curriculums from time to time to ensure it is compatible with even the market. Why should I learn maybe about how to make a homemade charcoal refrigerator, something of that sort. Yet right now people are doing things about modern fridges. Instead, we should teach a child maybe how to connect, how to repair that fridge, what to do with the water, that gas, how is it refilled. But now, you're talking about charcoal. I've never even made use of it. So we need to review these things. Why am I even learning about a butterfly? About a grasshopper? But what was it? Head, antennae, thorax, I don't know. Abdomen. Yeah, you're just filling your head with garbage. So even as educators, we need to take up the challenge and come out clear that whatever we are offering, sometimes it's bogus. Yeah, so there is need for us to keep updated with the market trends and offer that. Yeah, offer the life skills. Why we even not yo. So and learn. So and learn and relearn. So what is the impact of brain drain? Impact of brain drain. So in the education sector, it starts with the human resource deficit. The people who are professionals will move out. So who will remain behind? Probably the semi-skilled personnel, and they'll not be able to deliver. And that means even the services will be a bit. Yeah. Number two is it costs talent. You have invested maybe on someone's education, like paying your fee. Then you back out. Yeah, there's as much as we have around. For example, in Kenya, the diaspora community remits over 300 billion Kenyan shillings every year. So I don't know whether it makes economic sense, but how good it will be for us as a continent, for us as a country, to harness our very best. Why are we just letting it go like that? Yeah. So it's costing us the talent and potential for sustainable growth, because now we take them away, we allow them to go, then we are forced. For example, in terms of health, I believe some of you have even been put into groups where you have to contribute for someone to go for maybe medication in India, in these countries. Why are we not having such services being provided within the country? It means we have a problem. It's because we have allowed the best brains which were there to go. So we need to do something, my friends. Yeah, so it's costing us. We are not growing sustainably, because if we changa money, this person who is sick has to be accompanied by another person. So we have already two incapacitated individuals who are not bringing in money. And for how long are we going to do this harambes? The baby bills. So tuko pahali pabaya, tujiangalie. Yes, another thing is isolation and loneliness. So due to brain drain, maybe even at family level, this is at family level, someone leaves for greener pastures, the other partner is left behind, so they will have to cope with the loneliness. Another thing, in the education sector, what happens is there is increased dropout rates. Why? One, there is reduced morale. For these students, every now and then, you have a new educator, a new instructor coming in, you get tired because they're using different methodologies, different ideas, and trying to cope until you adapt. It can become cumbersome, and for those who are not able to tolerate, obviously they'll have to drop out. What I saw, like in our campus, you'll find maybe a professor has gone outside for greener pastures, and you had a missing mark. They have gone, you don't know when they are resuming back. Maybe they have gone even for a sabbatical leave. Hey, you will wait and wait for your graduation, because if you have a missing mark, you can't graduate. So you keep waiting and waiting. So what finally happens, due to that frustration of waiting, you decide to call it quits. It happens. So it's not only about the lower grade learners who are affected. Even campus students are affected very much. Yeah. Another thing is about low student performance, because you keep changing the educators. Sometimes because now you cannot afford the highly skilled professional, it means you have to employ semi-skilled or low skilled. And what does that mean? The people who are now going to educate learners are also going to offer semi-skilled. Okay, they're not going to equip much because they don't have that capacity. Yeah? You cannot pour out from an empty cup. So yeah, we have a problem. It means the products will be half baked to some point. Yeah, so that's why you hear sometimes, oh, we have half-baked products. This is because of brain drain. Yeah, the best professionals have left, and now you're remaining with the semi-skilled, or people, yes, who are now highly skilled, but still they're demoralized. They're not compensated well enough. So what do you expect? Like I've seen for the first slot for JSS interns, they'll say like you have around 12 subjects that you need to deliver on, but you look at the amount that you're given, 17,000 stipend. Okay, fine, for sustenance it's okay, but still it was not making sense at all. Considering the work you put in, you will have to use resources, maybe IT if it's not there in your school. Because sometimes you're teaching maybe chemistry and I'm a Kiswahili teacher. Really? Huh? Zinapatana wapi? Where do they meet? So it becomes a challenge. Yeah. Even if you are the best in a certain subject, the fact that you have not been exposed for it for a long time, probably you're going to lie to the students. Instead of teaching, you'll be lying. Yeah. Another thing is limited access to quality education, something I've already explained. Yeah, because now that the professionals have left, let's say, okay, I saw it even in a certain station I was in. A person was employed under TSC terms. Now she has left. So it means behind a gap was left, because according to the UN, UNICEF, we're supposed to have a ratio of 1 teacher to 40 learners. But go to the ground today, you'll find a teacher is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, my friends. You'll find a teacher even having 80 learners, 76, 56. You see, still, it's a lot, because you cannot be able to deliver to all of them and give differentiated content. So it means we are denying the learners access to quality education, starting from even the teacher-student ratio. Yeah, another thing is the difficulty to retain teachers, because you'll find there is a high staff turnover. This teacher is like, you're paying poorly, maybe it's on BOM basis, you're giving them maybe 10,000 and you expect more from them. You expect them to be coming for preps. They have to give out more than what they're compensated, which fine, sometimes if you need the experience, go for it. But you'll find someone will find better opportunities and they will go. Or you have a poor working environment, they will go. You'll not be able to retain all those teachers, so they decide to leave. So it becomes hard even to deliver content. Another thing is increased antisocial activities. Now that we have the school dropout, what do you expect next? They're going to be there, start boda, others without even proper training. They are underage, engage in uh should I say, yeah, so you engage in maybe terrorism, robbery. Some will even be doing things like prostitution, because you have to bring food on the table. Now that you're not in school, even the parent expects you to put something on the table. Hmm? You need to be contributing to the cake. You're not just eating. Yeah, because you have to be at least resourceful. Yeah, so that's another challenge that comes in. Another thing is about social economic status is lowered. Socially, there'll be broken ties. You have bonded with the learners, then you have now to exit to seek greener pastures, because no matter how you love them, no matter how much you're delivering, if you feel you're not well compensated, you will have to look for something else. Another thing is it reduces innovation and competitiveness. Yeah, because now the competitive minds have left. So what you're leaving behind are people who are not that competitive. I think you've seen this even in sports. People who are here, people who could, great sportsmen, but they don't find even the infrastructure, the innovation, they're not, oh my. So they decide to even go to other countries. And guess what? They become world champions. So it means the problem was within and not without. Because how come after they left for other greener pastures, they still had the gold, the silver, bronze? So it's up to us to decide whether we want to continue crippling our sustainable growth by not being competitive enough. Because you find we have this, I don't know, I saw it even for the sports, the school sports. You'll find someone who is best suited maybe for an indoor game. They're not given the space, courtesy that one of their teachers was not there to maybe referee the game. So you referee in what? To the advantage of your student instead of the one who is most qualified. And so this person whom you are favored will proceed to the next level, but because they were not competent enough, they will lose. So you end up losing maybe as a whole county, as a whole region, as a whole country, because you didn't have competitive people. The people who are most competitive due to corruption, they have been discouraged, they have been frustrated, and they've even given up altogether and decided to do something else. So that is the tragedy that we have. Another thing that I saw was loss of intellectual prowess. These are people who are needed for research. Like, we need to be researching, like things the president is telling us that the animals should be vaccinated. We need to even look at the content, what is in. Are we going to destroy our agricultural system? What's not happening? We need to debunk all the myths that are there so that we know that this thing is good for consumption. So we need to do our independent research, and that requires intellectual capital, which has now fled for greener pastures. So we are left having to be a dumping site for everyone. All. Yeah. Another thing that I saw was gaps due to incompetencies. So there are going to be educational gaps. There are going to be gaps even in the education sector mostly, because we are not able to bridge. We think that things are okay, but they're not. Because the best minds that would have told us, we have a problem, they have decided to, they don't give a damn anyway, because no one cares to listen. So the gaps will continue to be there. Even the gap the inequality between the rich and the poor continues to widen, because the person who comes from even a richer family has more access to better education, quality education, unlike someone who is poor. Someone who is poor will just be depending on things that are free, and sometimes they are very expensive in the long run. So that is our challenge of brain drain. Another thing we have is poor return on investment by the government. You have been investing on these people, but there is no return on investment. Yeah. As far as youth capacitation and empowerment is concerned, they have gone elsewhere. Okay, now that the youth have left, what that means is that we are left behind with the older folks, and they'll be lonely, very lonely, and we might need to have care centers for them, because now who is going to take care of them? Who is even going to take care of our farms? So it means even food insecurity will be inevitable as a result, and that's a challenge. So maybe in the coming years, if we continue that, we don't even have good people who can advise us. The agroeconomists are not there. It's going to be a challenge. People will continue planting maize and beans even when it's not fetching them money, unlike if they invested in things like herbs and spices, floriculture. Yeah, so that is it. That happens. Another thing is that we reduce even our competitiveness for education, because people will be like, why should I study, for example, health, life sciences, if they're not recognized per se? Yeah. Alright, so there's some noise in the background, sorry. Another challenge that we have is persecution that may happen because people have fled. There was this xenophobia that was happening in South Africa because people have fled from their countries, they have gone there. The people who are hosting them feel the opportunities that were there for them to grab are no longer there. So they start fighting back. Yeah, because they're like, this is our country. There's no way you can have such a job while I don't have. So you'll see the effects that we had. So what next? We have to do the opposite. One, we have to restructure the remuneration plan. Number two, we need to have opportunities for career growth, where people feel like, maybe after doing a diploma, I can go to a degree, bachelor's, nini, you're progressing. Even in terms of the skills, the experiences, you're growing as a person. If you were previously just a classroom teacher, you're now becoming a senior teacher. You're getting administrative roles like maybe a deputy principal, deputy head teacher. There's progress. You're feeling like you are being felt. Yeah. Another thing is to have quality standards as far as our amenities are concerned. I don't know what our castles do, but I think we need to start doing it. Just the same way we have maybe in the Ministry of Education, we have previously they used to be called education inspectors. Right now it's the quality assurance and standards officers. They need to go and look in even to our curriculum. Is it serving us, or it's serving some outdated stuff? So we need to look into that. Another thing is we need to have a renowned education system, a very competitive education system that will mean that our continent's flag flies higher and higher. Yes. Another thing is to have proper legislation. We need to have proper policies, rules, and regulations just to preserve. Yeah, we're not saying people should not go and seek greener pastures, but at least let's have an enabling environment within the country, so that, because if it was good enough, they will not find a need to move out. Yeah, so we need to have better policies going forward. Another thing is we need to have opportunities. We create opportunities, and that means we need to have financial resources. So Sometimes we have money, like the Wezo Fund, Suju Women Fund, but people are not aware even how to access such funds. So we need to educate people on how to get such funding. How do you even apply for a grant to have a certain project running that will be a social enterprise? It will be creating wealth for you and others. Yeah. Another thing we need to look at is about good governance. Uh, Now that I said one of the reasons as to why people flee to other countries is because the systems are working, it means we have to have good governance. Yeah, within our continent, within our countries, within our counties, so that people can have a vote of confidence in that governance where they have equal opportunity, not whereby there's nepotism, like I'm employing someone from my tribe. If it's a tender, we just want to award it to a family member. Things don't work that way. But if it's free and fair ground, you'll find at least people being it will act having some morale, yeah, energized to even give it a try again. Another thing is to have better treatment. How do we treat our workers? Sometimes you find people are working, they're not compensated. Maybe they don't even have the PPEs like the doctors, so it's not right. Or they have striked. Yeah, they have decided to demonstrate, but it's over 35 days later. You are not raising any concern. You're not addressing their grievances. That raises a big concern, really, on whether we are serious as a country, as a nation, as a continent. So we need, even as the world, yeah. So that, yeah. So that we need to raise. Sometimes we have to go on the streets on our own to seek what is rightfully ours. We need to write the papers, take them for reconsideration. Yeah, you have to be the change that we need. No, it's no longer that thing where we used to say that sisi ni viongozi wa kesho, sisi ni viongozi wa leo. The future that we were talking about is right before our ears. We have no option but to go and fight for what is rightfully ours, to go and ask for what is rightfully ours, even if it means knocking doors on and on. Yeah. Okay. Anything that I left? I don't think. So I hope you have learned something. About brain drain. So we have said brain drain is basically when people or skilled personnel are moving from one place to the other in search for greener pastures. We have looked at the challenges of brain drain, like isolation of the older folks, the HR deficit. We have looked at the unsustainability in growth, the lack or reduced innovation and competitiveness. We have also looked at reasons as to why we have brain drain. Brain drain on steroids, actually. We have also looked at the possible solutions, especially in terms of remuneration, having better pay, better opportunities. Yeah. So, however, we should also not confuse brain drain with brain waste. Sometimes you find we have the issue of it's not even unemployment, it's underemployment. Yes, you are somewhere, but you feel the roles that you're holding are not matching with what you know. You don't have a chance to exercise what you know. So we need to also look at that. Maybe you shall consider next time. And I wanted to say that moving out for greener pastures can be a win-win situation for an individual. Because if you invested in that education, it is not serving you within that country of residence, then you will have to go elsewhere so that that paper can serve you, instead of being around and just continuing with the vicious cycle of poverty. You can look for opportunities elsewhere just to make ends meet, to just to even have yourself be in a position to say that this is what it means to dare to dream, and that you have an opportunity to make your dreams come true. It could be an eye-opener even for your family members, maybe your children. You would have placed them in a better place to be. So it really depends. Though on the long run, we admit that brain drain costs the country, it costs potential, it costs us talent, and we have no option but to start creating that change. We need to be the change makers. And I think that's why most embassies will be like asking people what are the what are things that will make you want to come back. Maybe you have been offered a scholarship. What would make you want to come back? Some people really want to go and never come back because maybe of the frustrations. But, and I know you know the answers by now, what will make you want to remain. Maybe you have a job. You can talk about social ties like your children. You can talk about maybe a plot that you have, maybe a spouse. There are very many things that might make you want to come back. So I believe after we have made it wherever, we need to come back and build us. Yeah, we also need to embrace maybe a culture where you're proud of the products that are produced in your country. Like, I look forward to a day when we shall be appreciating made in Kenya. Now sometimes you just find we are doing plastics, and it's not nice. So it will be good if we start having these conversations, we start making the change, because as I've already said, as much as you want the change, you find that you need financial capital, you need finances to even start creating jobs for others, because you need that capital. So if you're not able to make that money from here, you can make it elsewhere and amass that wealth and come to use it. Today I also saw a conversation whereby someone was like, the lady who started Kenya ni kwetu, Kenya ni nyumbani, that she has gone to Saudi, Qatar, Masita Rose. And I love the engagement, because the author of the post, it's like, I don't know, it was a skewed thinking that if I say home, Kenya ni home, that I'm not supposed to live, yeah? But the truth is, yes, huku ndio nyumbani, but I'm free to go elsewhere, to tour, to explore, so that we come back. It could be a light bulb moment, you'll be there, maybe you even see how people engage, the kind of architecture they have, and you come and replicate the same here. You go and learn, maybe it's a teacher, you learn about the different methodologies of teaching, and you come with, use them here. You see, that's how it should be. Another thing, you can go and get the expatriate experience so that you could be better placed to bag these big opportunities. Yeah, so I believe this has been educative for everyone. Yeah, so let's not be seeing brain drain really, or movement of expats as slavery, or quote unquote a brain drain. Sometimes it's a win-win situation, honestly. So we need to respect people's choices, and yeah, tuende tujenge taifa, tujenge nchi, tujenge bara letu, tujenge dunia yetu. Go and be the change. I dare you. Bye.